So I want to talk a little bit about numerology and specifically the number one to kind of get us started off. And ancient Kemetic people were heavy on numerology. They use numeric symbols throughout the structure of the civilization. They have papyruses, specifically the Ren papyrus, which was a mathematical papyrus that was written probably, it's dated to 1848, somewhere in that range, BCE, making it roughly 4,000 years old, or close to 4,000 years old. And they believed very clearly that there was a mathematical principle. They outlined creation and each stage of creation by a numerical assignment, what it really represents. And so they had a direct correlation with this. Now, one of their largest temples, which is the temple at Karnak, is actually a place of mathematics. It is called the enumerating place, and it was built roughly during the Old Kingdom, like roughly 2500 BCE, I think. So again, we're talking in that range of 4,000, close to 5,000 years ago. There was a temple that was literally dedicated to breaking down math, and it was continually added on to, making one of the largest temple structures there. Now, we even know that the Greeks took a lot of their mathematics. Pythagoras studied in Kemet for 20 years. And then, of course, the Western culture attributes all of these mathematical discoveries, as they call them, to him. He came to Kemet and he discovered those things. So keeping it in line with how they represented life and culture, creation was set in that same sense. And it represented ideally what the number one really meant for them. One was not just a number, or really was not a number. It represented unity. It was the singularity. It was the not number. It was the essence or the underlying principle of numbers. And all other numbers are actually made up of one. One represents the absolute unpolarized energy. It is neither an odd number or an even number. If you add it to an odd number, it makes it even. If you add it to an even number, it makes it odd. So it has the ability to carry and convert properties of both. It always preserves itself. It is seen as attam, and again, the creation story of him being the singularity. So one represents him as that source, that very first being. And he would have associations with others, and they would become just as important in their roles. Isis, who we'll talk about next, will represent a very special connection with two, and thus duality. But focusing on what one means, it is the number that is somewhat outside of numbers. It is again the whole, with everything that's come back together. So when we look at not only the creation myth, we look at the cosmology of Kemet, or ancient Kemet. And I talked a little bit about there being 9 in terms of that structure as well. 9 different realms, 7 being heavenly and 2 being earthly. So this is going to tie into 1 being like the highest level. This is like the unification. This is where you're back with attam, right, at that stage. So it'll be an interesting journey as we kind of dig more and more into some of the numbers. I'm going to bring some of these topics up to see the T as we kind of progress and we meet in our next show. But let's enjoy kind of breaking down the number one, looking at it for what it really represents in that culture, which was that singularity and that unity. Thanks for stopping again. Make sure you click that like and subscribe.